All right,
I've
turd
got
sandwiches.
I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more Bambalam.
I need more Bambalam.
Whoa, Black Betty, Bambalam.
Yeah, the reason Christopher Walken has been on my mind so much lately,
Well, I
because I
mean,
was telling.
he's on everyone's mind all the time. Like
That's true.
Like I mean,
I
look,
I
man.
feel like recently he's been on a lot of people's minds. One with the Super Bowl commercial, but more importantly, he was in Dune 2,
Hmm.
and so he's been in my mind. Um, yeah, like he was fine in Dune 2. He was only in it for like 5 minutes, maybe. Um, he played his role. It didn't need to be anything crazy or anything. I think he did fine.
All
But
right, Christopher. So what we need from you is, this is a very serious scene. What we need from you is for you to, do, like, maybe let's go for something different. Let's go for something like really, like, try to really get in the role. Okay, action. Paul.
may my blade chip and shatter.
I don't know enough about Dune to go in depth on that joke. I just know
I'm
that
trying to think
I
of
think the main character's name is Paul. Is that it?
yeah, Paul Atreides.
Yep.
Oh my
The,
gosh!
like
Like side
Archduke of
note,
Arrakis or something like that. I don't know.
yeah. Side note, Dune 2 was freaking awesome.
Oh,
Like,
I haven't seen either of the new Dunes.
yeah. I won't say anything
I know
like
there's a thing
spoiler
about
about it.
being inappropriate with the popcorn bucket, but
Yeah. Which I think that ultimately did great for them in terms of just
yeah.
stupid marketing.
Well, yeah, if you can
Um,
make it, if you can get a meme made out of something you did, that's free marketing.
yeah. It's wild though because the movie is like very serious. It's like a serious like sci-fi political drama kind of.
Yeah.
Uh, but like sci-fi political drama
And like
slash like
hard sci-fi at that.
yeah slash like inspiration from Christianity slash Islam. And so you have you have this, and then it's
Your
like
classic
Dune
Abrahamic
popcorn
religion.
bucket.
Oh, those classic Abrahamic religions going and starting wars everywhere.
Yeah, it's just so funny that that
The only the
was the
only
big
thing
marketing thing.
the only thing that Abrahamic religions hate more than each other is different versions of themselves.
Yeah. Man, it was like so good. Like it like gave me, I don't know. I know this sounds bad
A
towards
stiffy.
Marvel or anything, but it gave me like hope for like the big budget movies.
Yeah. Well, that's what Oppenheimer and Barbie did for a lot of people last year, is like
Yeah.
movies are kind of back, you know what I mean? Like Marvel is still here and it has its place, and I'm happy with that, but I'm also happy with the fact that it's not the only thing at the theater anymore.
Yeah. Like Dune, it gave me hope in the Marvel sense, but I also think about Star Wars, where like a lot of us have fallen off of Star Wars. Or I'll at least say this: even if you haven't fallen off, it's not as big as the hype was 8 years ago.
No. No.
Um,
No, because 8 years
but
ago we were still riding high off The Force Awakens,
yeah, exactly.
which was
Like
divisive amongst old school Star Wars fans, but enough people liked it that it was still sort of a revival.
I think the first year or two, the majority of people liked it, but as time went on,
Yeah.
like it has become divisive.
Well,
I've noticed
once
that recently with No Way Home. I've noticed that now becoming divisive, whereas when it first came out, everyone loved it.
yeah, No Way Home is starting to, it's wearing on people, because the thing is, like, people, when they go back to rewatch it, you're watching it at home now, right? So like the pauses for applause are way more noticeable. Like
Yeah.
the fan service is a lot more noticeable. There's certain, like, well, a lot of people say there are gaps in logic. I think it's as simple as characterization in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
Because like everybody, like okay, because a lot of people, I'm not going to get in depth on this, but a lot of people, you know, go into it with the CinemaSins mindset that every character should be making the most logical decision based on everything they're capable of in the moment, like no matter what.
Right.
Which is a stupid idea, but it's one that people have.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like, no. Like, I don't make all of the most logical decisions in my moment-to-moment life based on my capability.
Yeah.
Why would I expect some wizard, excuse me, or a Spider-Man to do that?
Yeah, I
A wizard with a
while.
history of impulsivity at that.
Right. Yeah, it'll be a while before I go back to it to revisit it. But I mean, I remember really liking it. And I'm sure if I watched again, I won't like it as much as that theater experience. I think that's just going to happen because it was such a great theater experience. But I don't know. Yeah. Like I'm not going to like fault the characters or anything
Yeah.
for like me liking it less because yeah, like that's some of the stuff that happens with the characters and stuff like it feels in line with who they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it came out of left field or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of the fan servicey bits, like if that's the sort of thing that grinds your gears, then it's going to annoy you because there's quite a bit of it. But
yeah, that's true.
For me personally, little meme references like I'm something of a scientist myself, like that I like that.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Now one of the funny things is though, even in the theater, I noticed the pauses for applause when like the old Spider-Man showed up.
Oh yeah.
Like even though people were like gasping and being like, "Whoa, woo, yeah!" Like, I was still like, they're hanging on this for a while. Like they are expecting people to cheer here.
Oh, I remember when because Andrew Garfield's the first one that shows up. I remember when he showed up, and like there was a little bit of like sound in terms of like ooh ah or like little bit of applause and stuff, but nothing. His didn't compare to Toby. When Toby arrived, everyone was like losing their mind.
You know, I think I kind of had the same thing at my theater. Like Andrew Garfield shows up, a few people are like, "Oh my gosh!" Whoa. It's like, but the fact that it wasn't like an explosion of like roaring and cheering made it noticeable that like, oh, they expected a bigger reception than this.
Yeah. especially whenever Toby's happens, like whenever he comes like 5 to 10 minutes later, and his is
his was like
huge.
I was gonna say his was like less than 5 minutes after that.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yep.
But I think that falls in line with like Andrew Garfield in that movie, where it's like, oh, I'm third Spider-Man.
Yeah. And the thing is, he was the best Spider-Man in that movie, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he really got the opportunity to show what he could have done as Spider-Man if he had better scripts and direction in his movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. It's just
one would even say amazing.
That is true.
But yeah, like there's no denying Andrew Garfield's a good actor, and he was a good pick for Spider-Man. They just didn't give him a good Spider-Man to be.
Yeah. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's good.
No Way Home, I think,
not so good. Or sorry, No Way Home. Sorry,
and that's another problem.
So
with
many
those
homes.
Ones. I was gonna say it was like I get it. There's a theme. There's the home theme, but little bit confusing as like a naming convention. It's less confusing with the first one. First one's Homecoming, right? First word in the subtitle is home. The other two are Far From Home and No Way Home, which are two titles that sound so similar.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like confuse those, like flip those two.
Because like the ideas are similar as well, like being conveyed in them. Far from home, I am far away from home. No Way Home, I could also still be far away from home.
Yeah.
Now I just can't get back. Help. Help me.
but yeah, they're good. But and things could change over the year. Uh, I don't see Dune 2 being a divisive movie. Dune 1 was a little bit divisive only because some people saw it as like, oh, this is like slow and boring, which I kind of get. Ultimately, I really like Dune 1.
This is just like my sister, slow and boring.
like I do get those complaints, but I ultimately do like the first Dune because I mean, the first Dune, it feels like we're building up and it's an introduction to this world and everything. We're building up to Dune 2. And then Dune 2 lets it rip. Lets a giant, fantastic fart rip. A giant sandworm fart rip, and it's amazing.
Hell yeah, rip ass.
Yeah, we all got high off of the sandworm farts, and it was fantastic.
It brought the spice.
I mean, it did. Like part of where spice comes from, it's not exactly, but part of where it comes from is their poop.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah. And also their pee has some like wild abilities.
Okay, this sounds like the perfect movie for you.
But yeah, like Dune 2 was just, oh my gosh, it's so great. Like if anyone is interested in seeing Dune at all, which I should say, like, this sounds like such a stereotypical thing to say, and it sounds kind of misogynist, but guys, fellas, I think all the fellas are going to like this movie.
Yeah.
I think the girls are going to like it too. I think you'll
Yeah.
like it. But yeah, this is worth seeing in theater. I saw it in IMAX, and like I probably looked like I was brought in on a field trip from like one of a class in school, because I was sitting there and there was at least 2 or 3 times that I was watching it where like I think my mouth was like open, like just like agape, just like, oh, that's so awesome.
Oh, big worm.
Well, what's
Big
hilarious is
worm.
that's one of the ones where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, is whenever Paul is riding the sandworm. That's not a spoiler, that's in the trailer.
That sounds like a euphemism.
I'm gonna ride the sandworm.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
But yeah, that scene is just so epic. And like I had mentioned it earlier about like the big budget, but I think seeing Dune 2, hopefully it'll set a precedent in Hollywood to show other filmmakers and studios that, hey, this is how you properly use a budget.
Yeah.
Because their
Hey,
budget was $190 million.
You are allowed to try.
Yeah, well, not only you're allowed to try, but also like, hey, we managed the money well. It was $190 million, and like it looks amazing. It compared to some other things that are 200 to 300 million that have come out the past few years. Like, yes, I know there's issues with Marvel stuff and all that, but
Yeah.
clearly when you see those budgets and you see some of those movies, you're like, well, that's a mismanagement of money / rushing people, which is also a mismanagement of money.
Yeah, / some of this must be going into embezzling or laundering of some kind.
Yes. What's the word that people say? Not theoretically.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Thank you. Allegedly.
In Minecraft.
Yes. Allegedly. Yeah. Allegedly in Minecraft. I think these people have to be embezzling some of this money because it makes no sense, especially when you compare it to something like Dune 2. But man, it was a great movie. Of the year so far, this isn't a high bar to clear. Best movie so far of the year.
Yeah.
It's not a high bar to clear.
I was gonna say all you've got other than that is like Argyle, Madam Web I think the Fall Guy just came out, which I heard was good. I want to see that.
I do want to see the Fall Guy. And I saw Lisa Frankenstein. It was good. It was definitely better than Madam Web.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, that would be really bad.
That's being better than Madam Web is a bar you can trip over.
Oh yeah. You have to try to be worse than Madam Web.
Yeah, you have to be playing Limbo to be worse than Madam Web.
But yeah, I've only seen like 3 or 4 movies in theaters this year. But Dune 2, fantastic. It's a great theater experience. Like it's like they actually care about the viewer, and it actually feels like, hey, there's artistry here.
Yeah, for me, movies like in the immediate future that I'm most looking forward to are Laser Lizard and Big Monkey fight the orangutan, and Indian John Wick.
Oh yeah. Was it that Monkey Man?
Yeah, the Monkey Man.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think, is coming out kind of early this year. So right off the bat, 3 very monkey-themed movies I'm excited for. I like monkeys, all right? Like, this is established.
Yeah, we already talked about that you were the prime demographic in the 50s for comics.
Yeah, I was born in the wrong generation.
Yeah.
Because they don't use monkeys and gorillas nearly as much as they used to in comic books anymore.
That's true.
Best you're going to get is semi-irregular Gorilla Grodd appearances in The Flash.
Yeah. Of the 3 movies you just listed, I'm definitely going to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Like, I'm definitely going to see that. I will likely see the Monkey Man. It does look appealing to me.
Appealing? Because he's the executive producer.
Is he really?
Yeah. Jordan Peele's the executive producer, and Dev Patel's directing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Dev Patel stars and directs. Has Dev Patel directed before, or is this his debut?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. If he has, it isn't a big movie.
No, at least not big in America.
Right. Well, that's cool. Okay.
But yeah, so of the 3, I'm probably most excited for the Monkey Man because it's the only one that's like genuinely new out of the 3.
Yeah.
Because like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I love Planet of the Apes. Caesar was legitimately like a childhood hero for me growing up, like as a fictional character. Not me growing up as a fictional character. I mean, like he's one of the fictional heroes that like that like I admired and like looked up to the most. Like and I didn't even realize it until the 3rd one came out, and I realized like, I kind of grew up with Caesar, and I didn't even notice that I did. But yeah, like Andy Serkis has like nothing to do with even the production of the next one. Like he wasn't a consultant for the mocap. He didn't direct anything. He didn't write anything. Obviously, he's not starring in it, even though you could get away with having him in it again, just as a different chimp.
Yeah.
But
ultimately, Andy Serkis did bring a lot to it. I haven't looked at like the cast and crew yet. I do want to see who's like writing and directing, because I just thought about that.
Yeah. I have no idea who's in it. Honestly, I don't really care because it's a Planet.
I'm still going to see it. Yeah.
But yeah, like Andy Serkis really was a huge part of why Caesar was such a great character.
Oh yeah.
Because he's like he's just such a good like mocap actor. And the crazy thing is, because like the one thing in motion capture that you can't like change unrecognizably is the eyes, because the eyes still have to be like the shape of the eyes of the actual actor, generally speaking. So you can always see in the eyes of the character if Andy Serkis is playing him, because there's a lot of really distinct like facial I want to say like little mini expressions in Caesar, and you look at it and you're like, you see a lot of like Smeagol in the way that
I
he emotes. Get that. And also Andy Serkis has a really distinct heavy breath.
yeah
Like I don't know if he's just a heavy breather or if that's just something he puts on for the characters.
He just walks around doing the monkey deep breathing.
But like he does that as Smeagol and Gollum a lot too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, now that I think about it, you're right. Let's see. I'm quickly looking up who the writer is on this. I found the director. There's not enough to go off of whether like
Oh, you're breaking
good
up.
director choice or not. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Sorry about that. I must have been too far away. Let me see. Okay, so
That's
the
okay. I forgive you.
director so the director he hasn't done much. He did the 3 Maze Runner films.
Hmm.
And that's mostly it. Like there's and also like apparently Hollywood has some faith in him because he's doing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and he's also doing that Legend of Zelda movie.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah,
But,
tonally speaking, though, having that background in Maze Runner movies is going to help with Planet of the Apes.
yeah, that's true.
But
Let's see,
yeah,
I'm trying to see who the writer is. Or writers. I'm sure it's a bunch of writers.
but yeah, and I'm just looking forward to the Godzilla and Kong one because it just looks like it's going to be bigger and dumber than Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
So like, and that's all I want from these movies.
Yeah.
For the MonsterVerse, all I want is for each one to be a little bit bigger and a little bit dumber.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till I hear some people's thoughts on it. I'm gonna see it regardless, but it all depends if I'm gonna see it in theaters or I'm gonna see it on my TV.
Yeah, you'll probably hear thoughts from me then, like directly, probably over the podcast, because I intend to see it in the theater. Because I wanna go to the theater more this year now that there is more than Marvel at the theater again.
Yeah.
Which, as it is, I only skipped one Marvel movie last year. It was my first skipped Marvel movie in 12 years.
Tisk.
Yeah, well, I know it was the Marvels, and I saw it on Disney Plus, and it was good. But I also didn't regret skipping it.
Yeah. It's one that like you didn't have to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Like there's
like,
movies that's like the theater experience enhances it, like Interstellar or Dune 2. But
yeah, like if I had skipped like Guardians Volume 3 in the theater,
right, yeah,
and then saw it on Disney Plus later, I would have probably been crying myself to sleep for the rest of my life.
yeah.
But the Marvels, I was like, after seeing it at home, I was like, yeah, I liked that, but I didn't need to see that in the theater.
Yeah. No, I completely get that. What's wild is I saw the Marvels twice in the theater. Not that I wanted to do it a second. It was good. I'm not saying it was bad. Yeah. Like the reason I did it again is because I think my sister wanted to see it, and I saw it before, so I was like, okay, we'll go and see
it out to see if it was appropriate for her. There's a lot of girls in this movie, so there's boobs everywhere. You got to be careful.
Whoop, that's a doggy.
Oh.
Hey, she shouldn't be barking. I moved the couch away to where she can't look out the window.
Well, she can still hear, I assume.
She doesn't have the best ears or eyes.
Neither does mine. That's probably why she's barking then.
Probably.
You see, mine.
Help me.
Help. But mine, Frankie, I don't live in the same house as her anymore, which makes me sad. But like her, she doesn't bark as much anymore because her eyes and ears are going.
Oh yeah.
She's one of those ones who like she needed the stimulation to bark at things, but now that she can't really hear or see as well as she used to, she's like, yeah, I'm content. The world is dark and silent now, and that's what I want. Because she spent most of her time sleeping anyway, so darkness and silence is all she ever wanted.
Yeah.
Now it's just easier for her to get to sleep.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll see. Eventually, I'll see big monkey, big lizard fight. I'll see it eventually. It just like I like the dumbness. Don't get me wrong. I love the dumbness. I've talked about some stupid movies I've seen before.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
you've brought up movies that I have tried and then stopped like 5 minutes in. I can't, like, and you see, for me, okay, the dumbness of Lamageddon isn't what gets me. Okay, that's not all right. Just to clarify, because I didn't even get to see any of the actual dumbness. What got to me about Lamageddon is that I couldn't freaking hear what was happening because
that's part of it.
because they didn't like. Because there's no like audio mixing. They filmed it on like a handheld camcorder or their phone or something in a windy field.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're talking about the scene whenever they discover like the crashed llama ship or whatever.
I don't even know if it was that. Like, I don't remember seeing a crashed llama ship. I just remember there being like early on, there's just like, and there's so much like ambient audio from like the rooms that they're in, like just the echoing and everything. It's like, it was. I'm sorry, but like, I'm okay with really cheesy, super low budget indie stuff, but I have a hard time getting into something that's so indie that like it's unprofessional.
Yeah.
At least with audio, I can forgive unprofessional visuals.
Yeah, I'll say I think you got maybe 5 minutes into the movie, something like that, because I think the scene where, I don't know if it's like investigators or what, they're like in a field and it's very windy, and I'm assuming it's close to the scene you're talking about. It's very windy and they're talking and doing their blah 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 talk and stuff. Yeah, the audio is very bad in that scene.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better afterwards. It's still like it gets better from there. I should say that it gets better from there, but it's still what sounds like in camera mic rather than like an external mic. But
and all you can hear is
no, I completely get people not wanting to watch Lamageddon or not getting through it. I liked it because it was fun, dumb, but also like I liked it because it felt. I'm not saying it is like this because I don't want to turn you off from the first Clerks movie from watching that, but it felt kind of like the first Clerks movie where it's like a group of friends just making a movie and having a good time, and you feel like you're like seeing that kind of.
I'm just a second. I'm searching through YouTube real quick because there is an independent filmmaker that I really like, who makes like super low budget movies, but they're they're generally pretty good. Joel Haver.
Oh yeah.
He made a movie. Well, he's made a few movies, but We Are Sasquatch. I love that movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen
and it's available on YouTube for anyone who wants to go watch We Are Sasquatch by Joel Haver. It is one of those ones where it's like, it feels like just a bunch of like friends in a small town making a movie. But yeah, like I could at least hear what they were saying in that.
Yeah, and that's around the same time Lamageddon came out, as 2016.
Yeah.
Or 2017.
Yeah.
Well,
We Are Sasquatch, based on what YouTube is saying, looks like it would have come out about 2020.
Well, I'm looking at he probably put it on YouTube.
Oh, he probably put it on
like
YouTube 2020.
Yeah. He ran the film festival circuit first and then put it on Vimeo. Oh, he did put it on Vimeo. I said that he did, yeah. In 2017 he put it on Vimeo. But yeah, here's what I will say. This could be an awful segue.
Don't say that you will say it. Just say it. Catch us by surprise. Bludgeon us with it.
We Are Sasquatch and Lamageddon has to be better than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to say Madam Web.
I
thought you were going to say that it has to be better than Madam Web.
Yeah, it does have to be better than Madam Web.
Which, honestly, I haven't seen Madam Web, but We Are Sasquatch is probably better than Madam Web.
Yeah, I haven't even seen We Are Sasquatch. I'll definitely say, I know most people, well, a lot of people won't say this. I think Llamageddon's definitely better than Madam Web. But yeah. So yeah, the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey thing. I texted Teo, uh, I think this morning, because I saw news about the Twisted Childhood universe. Uh, the film producers that brought us Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey are, because they went to the bank with that movie.
Yeah.
Like the budget was $100,000, which I don't know. That seems a little high. Like,
I've not seen it, so I can't really speak to that myself. But
I haven't fully seen the movie, but I've seen the trailer and I've seen clips, and I don't know. Maybe I guess 100,000. Maybe that's also including some marketing costs or something. I don't know because yeah, I don't. Decent cinematography. It's not great, but it's not like Llamageddon cinematography.
yeah.
But so I mentioned Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. They have a whole cinematic universe coming. Blood and Honey cost them $100,000. That was the budget. They made like $5 million off of it because it was in like some theaters and stuff, and then streaming and Tubi and all that stuff. Um, and then they released the news this morning of the twist, or yesterday, but I found out this morning of the Twisted Childhood universe. And this includes Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So that one. Then Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which I knew they were making a second one. I didn't realize it comes out next week.
Oh God.
Yeah, it comes out March 26th.
That one really snuck up on us.
And it's going to be in like, I I'm sure it's limited theaters, but I looked up every single theater like in a 50-mile radius of me. It's playing in all of them, at least for March 26th. like like from what I saw, it's playing from March 26th to like March 31st or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's playing at Bayou 15. It's playing at the other AMC in Pensacola. It's playing at the Breeze and Gulf Breeze. It's playing at the AMC in Destin. Like it's playing at all these theaters around me, which is really weird. Uh, I did watch the trailer to it. It's not great, but it definitely looks and seems better than the first one.
I was gonna say, does it seem like your kind of thing? Because you're into some
Possibly. That's the thing is
weird
like I
stuff.
watched the second one or the second trailer and I was like, it could be like a decent like B horror movie. Like not meant to be that great, but like
Yeah.
pretty decent. I was like, oh no, I can't believe they're doing this. Because I remember whenever Blood and Honey, the first movie, its trailer came out a year or two ago. I wasn't going to see the movie, and I'm glad I didn't because it turns out it was crap. But I saw that trailer a year or two ago, and it ticked me off because yes, I get indie movie, I get it, $100,000 budget, which is too high, but it was so cheap because
Yeah.
they had like a latex mask
Yeah.
for Pooh and a latex mask for Piglet that like didn't even like move. Like the lips didn't move or anything, as well as like they didn't even tuck the back part of it into their shirts that well. So sometimes you could kind of see like the mask flap, and it's like, oh my gosh, like you got $100,000. Like, oh, and also, so keep in mind, it's supposed to be Winnie the Pooh. It's supposed to be Piglet, like these animal characters. They look like humans with latex masks, and they cheaply just put latex gloves on them, like or not latex gloves, uh, leather driving gloves on them, basically,
Mm.
like to where you couldn't see their hands to hide the fact that like yeah we were too lazy to give them creature hands or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on top of the fact that Winnie the Pooh and Piglet aren't even supposed to be actual like animals.
Yeah, yeah,
They're stuffed animals.
yeah,
So like they could have given them yellow oven mitts.
yeah. That would have been fine.
And it would have been accurate.
What I will say with this new one, with the second one, after I saw the trailer, they did a better job, at least on the makeup. It's not great. I think they could have done a little bit better. But with Pooh, like it is like it's not a latex mask that can't move. Like it does feel like prosthetics on someone. And there is like, I don't know if it's fur or whatever, but it does look creepy. And the mouth can actually move some, not a lot, because I think he'll probably rip a lot of the prosthetics off.
Yeah.
But it does move some, and you do actually hear him talk some in this trailer, which it wasn't bad. It sounds like a very creepy, if you were trying to do this movie, a very creepy, deep Winnie the Pooh voice. Like, I know that sounds weird because Winnie the Pooh has like a high voice.
Yeah.
But if you were to do like the same cadence, the same accent, and do it kind of like creepy and a little bit deep,
Yeah.
I'd say this kind of sounds like Pooh.
You know what else sounds like Pooh?
This movie that I might possibly see, which is bad.
Yeah.
And another thing I didn't like was I get like it's humans, like it's actors dressed as these people and stuff, but they didn't like play into their figures that much. It still is like a human with these prosthetics on his face, but what they did do, they did give him like weird gnarled bear hands. So it's like, okay, like at least they did something with the hands and didn't just put gloves on him. But he's like, what I don't like is he's skinny, like a skinny guy. I don't like that. It looks weird.
They didn't even put him in a fat suit.
That's what I'm saying. Like that can't cost a lot. Put him in a fat suit, maybe. And I'm not trying to make excuses for them. Maybe the excuse is like he's hungry. He's been deprived of food.
Yeah. I have been deprived of honey.
Yeah.
So now I must take blood.
He's been deprived of blood and honey, and now he's getting them both in this movie.
First I'll take your blood, and then I'll take your honey, if you know what I mean. Wink.
Because I don't love it, but I do like the trying of the makeup now compared to the first movie. The first movie was abysmal. But they are trying. But yeah, come on, fat suit, man. Fat suit. But it does look like it has some interesting kills and stuff. They showed this in the trailer. One of Pooh's weapons, it is creative. It's a bear trap that he like slings at people. And he slings it at this one person at like a party, and it like closes on their head, and he just rips their head off.
That sounds so stupid.
And it didn't look that bad. And then this is even more stupid. This is stupid. But towards the end of the trailer, like one of the characters is like hiding in a car, and a flaming chainsaw bursts through the window of the car, and it's Pooh. He has like this flaming chainsaw. Wow. I was like, okay, that's stupid, but like at least they're doing something more than the first movie. Like based on the trailer of the first movie, it can only go up. Doesn't mean it's going to go up a lot, but it can only go up.
Yeah. The only way out is up. The only direction. So based on the thing that you sent me, about, hang on, let me go into our conversation real quick and look at it so I can remember. Okay, here we go. Now a couple of these I know for certain are public domain.
Yeah.
Pinocchio definitely is. And I believe Peter Pan is as well.
Yeah, Peter Pan is.
Is Bambi public domain yet? Did that book come out in the 20s?
I thought it did. Like, if it is public domain, it had to have become
recently
public domain within like the past like 5 years or something.
Yeah, I think it might have been like the 1910s or the 20s or something when that book came out.
But yeah, so listeners, here's the twisted childhood universe. You got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 in theaters 1 week from now. Pay me. Bambi, The Reckoning. Peter Pan,
The Reckoning.
Oh, good.
That makes me think that Bambi's going for revenge on the hunter.
If he does, and if they actually have a budget compared to the first Winnie the Pooh movie, I know it's going to be stupid, but they're already making these movies, so there's nothing I can do about it. If he does, and if the trailer looks okay, and it's not just some guy walking on 2 legs saying with a Bambi mask saying, "I'm Bambi." If it's not that, and it is
his classic catchphrase, "I'm Bambi.
I'm Bambi. Here's my reckoning."
It's a chainsaw.
Like, gosh, I'm trying to think how they're going to do that now, because these are so low budget. Like, I would be okay. I know it's going to be super uncomfortable, and I don't want them to do this, but I'm trying to think of the cheapest way. I would be okay if it was just someone on all fours. But like they really did up the makeup.
No.
I don't want that, but I would want that over like person standing on 2s.
Here's what you have to do. You either make Bambi into some sort of Cernunnos-esque wood god, and like make him a deer man on 2 legs and like super horrifying to look at.
I'm going to do that,
and keep him like out of frame for most of the movie, with the excuse that it heightens the horror that you can't see him, so your imagination does all the work for you. But the real excuse being that they just don't have the budget to depict a monster like that.
They're not that creative, though.
I was gonna say, or you just get a deer, a whitetail buck. You film it for a couple of hours and use very limited CGI to depict whatever you need it doing to get the creative kills.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's all Bambi is. Just a white-tailed buck.
Yeah. I see them going more with the first direction, which I like and dislike, but I definitely like it more than the second direction, because that's more of a 70s and 80s cheap horror movie.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it's not even like people being creative. It's more like horror is big at that time.
Yeah.
We're trying to cash in. So we're just going to go film some B footage, basically, of deer in the woods.
Yeah.
And then we'll splice in some stuff to make it look like deer killed someone or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Be creative with it, or just do like Birdemic level CGI.
Yeah, I feel like if they can do it well, it might be decent. I feel like they're going to go that first route you're talking about, where it is like Bambi's on 2, but it is like this creature within the woods. Like, it's not Bambi once was this little deer, but now it's
now he's freaking Wendigo, and he's going around impaling people on his antlers.
Exactly. I'm okay with that one, and I do like your idea of like shadows, not showing it too much because it is very low budget and our makeup isn't that great, or it's just freaking latex mask. The sad part is they're not going to do that. They are going to show it a lot.
Yeah. You know what they're going to end up doing? They're just going to take like a stuffed deer head, like the trophy off of someone's wall, and staple it to some guy's face.
Oh, hopefully. I can't believe I'm saying this. No. I was about to say, hopefully Blood and Honey 2 makes a lot of money. I don't entirely want that, but if you're going to do the Bambi thing decently, they need the money to actually do makeup and stuff.
Well, here's the thing, Brandon. This is a win-win situation for us, and I'll explain why. Either Blood and Honey 2 does gangbusters at the theater and they get the budget they need to make the Bambi one good, or it fails and this whole thing dies in the crib.
That's true. Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say. This whole thing isn't going to die in the crib. Now, what we'll get to in a little bit, the Pooniverse, Monsters Assemble, that
oh my
might
God.
die.
There are several reasons Pooniverse is the worst.
We'll get to that in a little bit, because the second I heard the name, I was like, oh my gosh. But they're still going to do all of these, I feel like, because I'll get into this production company's track record. They're gonna make money regardless, even if it's like, oh, we spent 300,000 on Blood and Honey 2, we made 400,000. They're still gonna be making these movies based on their track record. Now, Pooniverse, that however probably will cost a little bit more. So if all of these don't do so good, that might not happen. But but yeah, so before we get to that, so yeah, Bambi the Reckoning. Then after that, you got Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, which just sounds to me like, it sounds like Nightmare on Elm Street with the Neverland kids, and Peter Pan's like coming after them. I don't know.
Yeah, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, because there's enough about Peter Pan that's scary, right? How do you make him scary?
I'm sure that someone has a decent idea, but on extreme low budget, it's like, all right, we gotta toss that out. Let's just go with like flying guy who has an evil looking face now, is slaughtering these kids with a sword.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, because based on the trailers that I've seen for like the Winnie the Pooh stuff, they don't seem to lean into the lore of Pooh very much, do they? In the movies, like, do you think?
Slightly. Like, I haven't seen the first one. I feel like maybe in the second one they might a little bit more, but the first one, the trailer starts out with Christopher Robin coming home from like college. Like it's been a decade or so since he's been in the 100-Acre Woods, and that's why like Pooh and Piglet, it's mostly only them two in the first one. Pooh and Piglet have like become these vicious killers because they've been rejected. They've been alone for all this time.
Yeah.
So Christopher Robin is in it.
Okay.
100-Acre Woods is a thing.
Because the thing is, there's a lot of these animal characters they could be using too. They got Tigger, they've got Rabbit, they've got Owl.
Nice.
They've got Eeyore. Thank you. They've got Kanga and Roo.
Yeah, I think the second one, based on like some of the posters and stuff I've heard, the second one is where they're going to have all the other animal characters.
They have the very premise of heffalumps and woozles to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So like Winnie the Pooh was very important to me growing up. So like this is why I know all this off the top of my head of just like stuff you can pull in. So it's like like bear traps and flaming chainsaws aren't a part of Winnie the Pooh lore though. I know it's shocking to hear that those concepts don't come up, but yeah, usually the worst Pooh has to worry about is bee stings and getting stuck in the doorway of his friend's house.
Well, again, I haven't seen the first one, but in the first one, Pooh and Piglet are at towards the end. Look, I don't even remember. It's like a bowl or a cauldron. They're like they both have like cups, and like one cup has blood, one cup has honey, and they're kind of like, I don't know, I don't remember if they're mixing it or they're just drinking one separately, where it's like, I'll have a little honey, now a little blood, now a little honey, now a little blood. I don't remember exactly, but
That sounds so stupid.
It is stupid, and it could be good stupid had they like actually tried with like the look
Yeah.
of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet.
Yeah.
Like as stupid and dumb as the horror movie premise is for it, if they had actually tried with like creature makeup and stuff, I think it'd be a lot better.
Yeah. So the reason that I brought the lore question up is because circling back to Peter Pan,
Yeah.
there's a lot about Peter by himself. You don't even need to pull like Captain Hook or any of the other like weird Neverland stuff in there for this to be true. There's so much about Peter himself that can be used effectively for a horror movie. He carries a knife, he can fly, and his shadow can separate from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like his shadow has its own will and runs away from him sometimes. So like that's three things right there that can make a pretty effective like horror antagonist.
Yeah, you could
On
just
top of
have
the
his
fact that he is
shadow.
known for kidnapping children and taking them away
Yeah.
to his Neverland.
Yeah. Oh, which okay, this is
Here, kids,
slightly
sniff this fairy dust and you'll fly. Sniff
this
this
is
pixie
slightly
dust and you'll be
like
able to fly. He drugs children and he takes them to his Neverland.
yeah, this is a slight sidetrack, but that just made me think the beginning of the Blood and Honey 2 trailer is like this birthday party and these two kids run in the woods. Yeah, I don't know, they're playing some game or whatever. And it's a voiceover of this one kid who's now like a young adult. He's talking to a therapist and he says like that was the day that Billy was taken, and it shows like a dirt road in a van and like this little kid being taken away in the van and this other kid watching it happen. And I it didn't show it, but I was like, what are the kidnappers, is that supposed to be Pooh and the friends, or like what does that have to do with any of this? Because then after that it like it all kind of ties together, but that beginning I'm like, was that them? Was that Pooh? Like who, what did the kidnappers have to do with this?
Maybe it's maybe even in the movie it's a complete non sequitur.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be funny? Actually, is if the movie starts with
Just a
this whole
random
like
kidnapper.
traumatized guy whose kid was, or not his kid, his friend was kidnapped as a kid, and then like the movie's not about that at all,
Yeah,
even a little bit.
That'd be great. She's like, no, that just happened.
Basically, just have the setup to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but then like don't follow through on that even a little bit.
Oh, I'll briefly mention this because you mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's. I'll dive into this production company, their gems in a little bit, but one of them is called Freddy's Friday, and it's a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff.
Oh, okay, yeah. But lastly, we should at least talk about Pinocchio, right?
Yeah, Pinocchio Unstrung.
That's easy. Just Chucky. Just do Chucky.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably what they're going to go for.
Or the dummy episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Which traumatized me and my sister as children.
Yeah.
That was always the scariest episode, is the dummy episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Is that the one where like the little kid brings home a doll, or are you talking about like an actual dummy?
Like a professional ventriloquist's dummy like comes to life.
Oh, that's right. And like the guy becomes like
a
kind
dummy.
of,
yeah.
Well, he becomes like a dummy, but he becomes like slightly successful because of it.
Yeah.
Where it's basically like Slappy completely ripped that off.
Yeah. What's Slappy?
Goosebumps.
Oh,
Night of the Living Dummy or whatever it is.
I never read Goosebumps.
There's quite a few Goosebumps books / episodes that rip off a lot of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. That makes sense. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a reason that the Twilight Zone is revered as a classic.
Yeah, yeah. But okay, so Pinocchio Unstrung, yeah, like I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but it could be like decent in terms of B horror movie. But yeah, like the thing is, it's like what you said. It's just going to be like Chucky.
Yeah, it's just Chucky. It's Megan. It's Isabel.
It's just slapping a new coat
Yeah,
of paint on it.
it's just another possessed doll movie. Basically, that's all you can do with it.
Yeah. So
5 shillings for the possessed doll.
and so that's 5 movies right there. 2 of those movies being Winnie the Pooh movies, and then that leads to the ultimate culmination of all of these.
Ugh.
Pooniverse Monsters Assemble, which we already mentioned a little bit before, but they obviously know what they're doing with Pooniverse, like, but because they like making these dumb movies.
You're gonna have to like bleep that every single time you say it.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to think of a way to say it unbelievable. So, Pooh-niverse.
There we go. They could have hyphenated it.
Yeah, I see why they didn't, because people are
Yeah.
going to talk about it.
Yeah, and you gotta get the. They know what they're doing. They know how to market this clearly.
Yeah.
And of course you and I can see it.
Yeah.
Because we're weird little perverts and we think too much about this stuff.
I got a feeling a lot of people are going to see that name.
Yeah.
Not grandma or grandpa, but like people our age are going to see that name and be like, oh. Okay.
Benny, have you heard about this Pooniverse movie that's coming out? Grandma, have you been looking at my search history? I told you you're not supposed to look at my search history. How did you even get my PIN code to get into my computer?
Yeah, expect a XXX parody of this, I'm sure.
Yeah, where just the H is taken out of the title.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would be slightly less grotesque than this actual movie. Just a bunch of people in bear and pig masks just going at it.
Yeah, it's just like
it would
weird.
Probably be more pleasant to watch than that's going to end up being.
Yeah. Yeah, so Monsters Assemble. So you got to assume Winnie the Pooh and any of the creatures that live from that, Bambi, Peter Pan, and any of the characters that fall in line with him in that movie, and Pinocchio. And then you might get like a Hawkeye or something like that in this one, where he wasn't introduced in Avengers, but that's where he played a prominent role.
Yeah.
So Monsters Assemble, you might see 1 or 2 characters that don't have their own movie. But
yeah, maybe other public domain characters will sneak their way in.
I'm trying to think, because all of these are like well, okay, Peter Pan is a human, so
it's all got to be like, because there's a very obvious theme they're going for here. Public domain characters that Disney has also used specifically.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, almost all of Disney's stuff is public domain. But like, none of the, they're not going for any of the princesses.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think. It's Monsters Assemble.
Yeah.
And yes, you could be like, well, Peter Pan's a boy, but he's magical.
Yeah.
He's like,
he's a magical boy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't grow up.
So yeah. And if I remember right, I think that said under Pooniverse 2025.
2025?
I could
So
have swore that's what it said.
okay, hang on, I have to look at that because that means that they're releasing all of these like
This year,
basically
basically.
by either within this year or that says 2025.
So Pooniverse could come out like December of 2025, but that means like obviously we already know Blood and Honey 2 is coming out like a week
That
from
that
now,
means the
but
next 2 years are stacked with this garbage.
yeah, the next 3 movies are coming out in less than 2 years. And then, well, really, if you include Pooniverse, the next 4 movies are coming out within the next 2 years.
Yep.
That is wild, which I guess makes sense because Blood and Honey came out last year, and Blood and Honey 2 came
Really?
out
I
like
thought Blood and
now.
Honey had been out for like 2 years already.
No, I looked because yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, like because it was such big news back then. It was like, no, it was 2023. I don't know specifically when. But
Everything that has happened over the past 5 years has felt simultaneously like it all happened in the span of a week, and like it has been my entire life.
let's see what the release date was. Let's see.
Like just the past 5 years have both been stretched out and run together so hard.
Yeah. Okay, so slightly over a year later. So Blood and Honey came out February 15th of last year.
So they're just cranking these out.
Yeah, they're going to crank these out, which makes complete sense when you hear the movies they make. It's like, okay, yeah, this doesn't take a long time to make.
Yeah, give me a crash course on this production company's filmography.
All right, so I wrote down about half of them. There's another half people can go look at, but these are interesting. So the production company is called Jagged Edge Productions. They've produced like 40 movies or more or something like that. So here's some of their gems. They produced Dinosaur Hotel 1 through 3. It's a trilogy. Dinosaur Hotel.
Are those horror movies? Do they do just horror movies, or
they do some other stuff? Oh, I didn't write it down, but they had 2 like Hallmark type movies, like Christmas Hallmark type movies, which were so out of place from all their other movies.
Oh my god,
it was so out of place.
Business Blonde and Mr. Handsome back together, back at it again.
like we could write a Hallmark movie for these people. Hold on,
It'd probably be the best movie in their catalog.
Oh yeah. Now, here's the thing. So when I heard the premise to Dinosaur Hotel, it doesn't sound amazing, but I was like, hey. Well, so the title is like it gives you a notion of what it could be, but it's not really. I kind of like the premise, but I'm sure it's awful because they're working on $50,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the premise is Sienna is desperate to win a large cash prize in a secret underground game show, but dinosaurs begin to hunt her down for the entertainment of the rich and wealthy. Can she be the last to survive the horrific night to win the prize?
So it's Dinosaur Hunger Games?
Kind of. Yeah. Dinosaur Hunger Games. Dinosaur... Oh, there's a movie, Dinosaur Ready or Not. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but
I've not seen that one, but I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like you got to survive a night, basically.
That's the one where like the rich people hunt the poor people, right? Ready or Not, or is that?
Yeah, well, Ready or Not is kind of like that. This girl is going to get married to like one of the family members, but they hunt her down for the night or something like that.
Well, hey, that's how I plan to propose to my future wife. So,
yeah,
just set her in the middle of the woods and tell her she can survive being hunted by my family.
Yeah, but yeah, so you have so Dinosaur Hotel 1 through 3, then you got Dinosaur Prison.
That's a much better and funnier title.
Hold on, I think I saw the premise of that one. Let me see. It didn't sound as interesting to me, but the title at least sounds somewhat interesting.
All right, real quick,
Yeah.
No prep time. Would Velocipaster survive the dinosaur hotel, do you think?
Well, I haven't seen how the dinosaurs are in
Oh
Dinosaur
yeah,
Hotel,
that's a good. But based on the
but
premise,
based on the premise, yes, because I think there's a lot we don't know about Velocipaster. I feel like if they made a Velocipaster 2,
which they should,
and there happens do what?
which they should do.
They should do, yes. If they made a Velocipaster 2, I feel like if somehow other dinosaurs got brought back or whatever, he would be able to control them.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point.
Or at least speak to them like Aquaman speaks to fish.
Well, here's what you do. He loves all the dinosaurs, so that way they all step on landmines.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
Alright,
the
so let me
perfect way for him
see.
to do it. All he has to do is love someone and they'll die.
So, Dinosaur Prison. A group of women break into a prison to expose its dangerous experiments. Are prehistoric creatures. So it literally is a dinosaur prison.
I was gonna say you cut out right after you said experiments, so I didn't hear most of that.
Ah, dang it. It's because the stupid trailer started playing. Basically, it's these group of women that go break into a prison to find out some secret experiment, and then when they get in, they find out the inmates are dinosaurs.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs with little heart tattoos that say "mom" on them on their shoulders.
Yeah. So it literally is a dinosaur prison. So at least they're sticking to the name. Dinosaur Hotel didn't really sound like, based on the premise, I don't know. Maybe all that like survive the night takes place at a hotel, but
yeah.
You got Kingdom of the Dinosaurs. It's another one of their movies.
A lot of dinosaur stuff.
There is. This is the last set of dinosaur stuff. You got Pterodactyl 1 and 2. You got a sequel. You have, continuing with the hotel theme from before, you have Snake Hotel. There's only one Snake Hotel, though. It didn't get a sequel.
I am sick and tired of all these monkey-fied snakes in this Monday to Friday hotel.
All right, and then going on to the next one, The Curse of Humpty Dumpty.
Okay, see, there you go. There's another like public domain, like like children's story character. I mean, not one that Disney has had a whole lot to do with. But...
Which, I mean, they had to have got pretty decent return for The Curse of Humpty Dumpty, because after that they got The Cult of Humpty Dumpty.
Oh my god!
And then you have Bloody Mary. Then you have Bloody Mary Returns.
Okay, all right. See, those ones sound like they could actually be interesting. Like, I know there's a lot of Bloody Mary-esque like horror out there in movies, but like, come on.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they are interesting. I'm saying they could be.
Yeah, they at least sound like those random "how the crap did this get in here" movies that you would find in a Redbox.
Yeah.
Then you got Easter Bunny Massacre 1 and 2.
Oh my god.
You have Jack and Jill, The Hills of Hell. I like that title.
That's a good title, but it's probably the stupidest movie in the world.
Oh yeah, it's probably awful. And then the last one I had written down was Freddy's Friday.
Freddy's Friday.
So they, in terms of their catalog, because they have like 40 or so movies, most of them are horror. They have like a couple action type movies, and then, like I mentioned before, 2 complete outliers that are like Hallmark type movies. So yeah, that is Jagged Edge Productions. Some high quality coming from those folks. So yeah, stay tuned, listener, for the Twisted Childhood universe. It's going to be the thing that takes over. It's going to stomp out Marvel. It's going to stomp out Dune. It's going to stomp out Star Wars, and it's all you're going to
It's
see
gonna
in the
stomp
theater.
out the MonsterVerse.
Yeah,
It's
based
gonna
on
stomp out whatever DC thinks they're doing.
how quickly they are putting these out, expect them to stomp out all of those and expect to see one of these movies in theaters every 2 months, basically.
Yeah, pretty much 2 to 4. I would say 2 to 4
Yeah.
months.
Basically, by the time one is leaving theaters, another one comes in. So
Yeah,
it's always
you can expect at least one screen in the auditorium to have a Jagged Edge movie in it.
Yeah. So
I assume none of those pre-Winnie the Pooh movies made it to theaters.
if it did, it was like the filmmaker's hometown, and they rented the auditorium out for $200, sort of thing.
Yeah. Guys,
But,
I worked really hard on Snake Hotel.
it was a passion project
It was
for
a
me.
passion project of mine. You have no idea how hard it was to wrangle all of those snakes. I did not have an animal handler on the payroll. I had to do that all myself. All the snakes locally found in the area. That's probably why you've noticed there aren't as many around as usual. I have been reintroducing all the ones that survived. I've been reintroducing them all into the wild. So they're coming back. I think a few of them were pregnant. Okay. Here's Snake Hotel. You get like one person like clapping with like their sweaty hands just in the before the movie starts up. Movie starts up, you hear the fanfare, the ba-da-da-da-da, turn it up.
You got this, sweetie. I believe in your movie.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Okay, so I had to quickly look up because I was like, what is Snake Hotel about? Because Dinosaur
The very
Hotel was
first
completely
scene
different.
is like a hardcore, like penetrative, like scene between a snake and a woman.
Well, it looks like women are the main characters of this.
A lot of women in their movies, it seems.
Yeah, this one. So it says a group of inmates make a gamble to shorten their prison sentence by taking part in a game of cat and mouse with a giant mutated snake. Is this in the same universe?
Snake and Mouse to me.
Yeah. Is this in the same universe as Dinosaur Hotel? Because it's slightly similar premise.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
like
big
these
questions.
Rich people, like they have access to dinosaurs, like dinosaurs' life. Now they got access to these giant mutated snakes. Like,
what else do they have access to? Giant spiders?
Oh, speaking of, I forgot, they do have a giant spider movie. I forgot what it was called. It was I think it's called Spider in the Attic.
I was
or
gonna
something
say,
like
if
that.
it's called Spider Hotel, I'm finding out where they are headquartered, and I'm driving there and committing arson.
I want more hotel movies. I want more of these rich elites plaguing these people down on their luck with all these
giant
mutated animals. Yeah. I better see I'm trying to think of what would be the good name for this. Ape Hotel? No, not Ape Hotel. Like
Wolf Hotel.
I want a big I want like not King Kong, but like a little King Kong in this hotel.
Oh, okay. Call it Gorilla Hotel or something.
Gorilla Hotel, that'll work. Yeah. That sounds more intimidating.
Did you say Little King Kong? That's just a gorilla, Brandon.
I want him to be a little bit bigger than your average gorilla, though.
It's just an abnormally large gorilla, Brandon.
I want him to like hotel hallways. They're usually about like 9-10 feet tall, maybe. I want him to like just barely be able to run through there. Like his head is almost grazing the top of that.
I think that might be a normal gorilla.
No.
Gorillas
let me see. Average
gorillas are like if bears could grab you.
5'1". Average gorilla height's 5'1".
Really? They look.
I knew they were short.
They look
I
so
always go
sophisticated.
to the
Okay,
zoo.
is that
Yeah.
standing up on their hind legs or is that down on their knuckles?
Oh, that's a good point. Let me see. Hind legs. Let's see. When standing on two legs,
They're
about
fine.
6 feet tall.
About 6 feet tall. Okay, so they're about the size of a human man.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so you're right. It would need to be like 3 feet taller.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. A normal sized gorilla sounds intimidating enough.
It does, but in case they cast someone that's like my height, I want the guy. Obviously, gorillas are intimidating, scary, but I want the gorilla to not only be bigger in terms of bulk and mass, but
Yeah.
also height.
So cast someone who's your height. So you want them to get a guy in there in like the gorilla suit from that SpongeBob episode?
Yes. No. What I meant was
The one where
like
he takes SpongeBob
if
and
a
Patrick and
human
puts them in a burlap
character.
sack and swings them around.
Yeah, no, what I meant was like if one of the human characters for some reason is my height, I
Yeah.
want him to be
Okay.
intimidated by the gorilla.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'll be intimidated by the mass and the bulk of the gorilla, but
I was gonna
height as
say,
well.
I, I was gonna say, I know that you are a very tall man, but I'm pretty sure if you were in a room with a gorilla, the height isn't what would scare you.
Oh yeah, no. But I want an additional fear to this person. I don't want for a second
Yeah.
him to think he has like some advantage with his height. He doesn't, but I don't want for a second for that to slip his mind. I want him to
Actually,
see that gorilla and be like, okay, I have no shot.
given the way that gorillas behave in the wild, I would say your height is probably a huge disadvantage for you if you were ever in a room with a gorilla. They don't like things that are taller than them.
Oh,
They don't. They're not like, because like with a bear, you put your arms in the air, they think that you're physically larger than you were, and like depending on how big that makes you look to them, they'll back off.
all right, then burn the posters.
But for gorillas, like you standing taller than them is a threat. They think that you're like squaring up.
In that case, burn all the posters, burn all the promo material we have. Midget Gorilla Hotel.
Brandon, you can't say
Going with
midget.
that.
It's 2024. It's as bad as the N word is.
Dwarf Gorilla Hotel.
No, it isn't. You want to know how I know it isn't?
We still call it the N word.
Because we won't even say what the N word is. If you're talking about two bad words and you won't even say one of them, that's the worst word.
Yeah. So what? Okay, I have my answer, but what would be more scarier to you? A 9 to 10 foot tall gorilla, and you're doing the hotel thing. 9 to 10 foot tall gorilla, or 9 or 10 3 feet tall gorilla.
Oh. You see, the thing is, if you could split but like right, even just like 3 foot tall monkeys can be pretty nasty. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're both scary for different reasons.
Yeah.
I would say equally as scared. If you could, so the thing is, if you can split the small gorillas up, like get one alone in a room and just herb stomp it, then like, and just keep doing that one at a time, then those ones are less scary. But like, if there is just no matter how hard you try, there's no way to split them up and they all dogpile you all at once, no matter what, then both are equally as scary options.
But if that is a possibility, because you said it, like that is a possibility. Doesn't mean it can happen that you would entirely be able to split them up, but it's possible you could. That is a possibility. So there is kind of a possibility where you can kind of make it out of there. The 9 to 10 foot tall gorilla, if I don't have a gun or anything, it feels like I'm being chased after like freaking Nemesis from Resident Evil. Like,
and it also depends on the caliber of gun.
Yeah.
if you're not going in there with like an elephant or tank rifle, then
Yeah.
a 9-foot tall gorilla ain't gonna stop. You would have to like unload a 9mm into that gorilla for him to like, and even then, adrenaline will probably push him a good bit past that.
Yeah. He's gonna be hyped up.
Yeah.
You're going down with him.
Yeah. Because gorillas really are just like if bears could grab you.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, there you go, folks.
Bears capable of jujitsu.
That's, that'll be their next movie, Jagged Edge Productions. They heard everything we talked about. And they just heard, what did you say? Did you say bear jujitsu?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do something with that. That'll be their next. That'll be them trying to go back into action. They've been leaning hard into horror. They're going to want to swing into another thing eventually, or they'll just steal our ideas of Lifetime and Hallmark movies, and now they're back in that territory.
Yeah. If I see even a single Hallmark style movie with a scene where a child lifts their mother's shirt up to convince a man to stay, we're suing.
If I see that anywhere, like whether it's Jagged Edge Productions or any Hallmark looking movie, I'm gonna be like, okay, someone listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Someone high up in Jagged Edge Production.
I was gonna say
to the podcast.
Someone in an underground layer high up in a building.
Yes. But yeah, so be on the lookout for those. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, March 26th.
Be on the lookout for them so you can avoid them.
Yes.
This isn't a lookout as in like, hey, be on the lookout. This is a lookout as in, look out!
Yeah, it's a warning.
Run! This one can chase you. This movie can chase you. You don't even have to buy a ticket. Sometimes you might just find yourself in the auditorium.
Oh, that's true. That'd be scary.
Right? Like, what if you're like, it's been a long day. You're so dog tired from work. You're unlocking your front door. You're getting home. You've got McDonald's in your hand because you can't be bothered to cook. You walk into your house. You're in an auditorium. It's a showing of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. You're like, what? How do I get out of here? You run to the other side of the auditorium to go out the other exit door. You're back in the auditorium.
Yeah, that's the scariest movie experience I'd ever had.
You're not allowed to leave until you sit and give the movie your full attention and then answer a questionnaire about your thoughts on it at the end.
Can I be honest on the questionnaire?
What's that?
Can I be honest on the questionnaire?
Yeah.
Okay. I might do it.
They're not going to listen, but you can be honest.
Okay, that's fine. I thought it was one of those things where like I have to give it a 5-star.
No, they don't care. They just want you to answer the questionnaire.
Okay. I was making sure I wasn't stuck in this theater hell if I don't answer right.
No, if they cared, they'd have better ideas.
Ah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, that's Twisted Childhood universe. Teo and I have a convention coming up.
Yes.
It'll be quite good.
This episode might be up after that.
I'm going to try to put it up this Friday.
Okay.
Or like schedule it for this Friday.
Yeah.
Because our last recording we did, I split it in two. I put our Akira Toriyama talk and your manga study into one video, and then our pitch for the accidental crimes of Chad Brown. That's a separate video. That'll come out next week.
That's awesome. Yeah, putting Chad Brown as its own video was actually a really good idea.
Yeah. Well, I started doing that with Paper Thin.
Yeah.
Because Paper Thin, I cut it and put it as its own recording. So I think I'm going to do that with our long pitches.
Yeah.
I'll put it for its own thing.
Yeah, for episodes when we have time to do that. Because we both have the same hard cutoff time today.
Yes.
which we're approaching rapidly. So I'll stop interrupting you.
No, you're good. So yeah, we've got a convention coming up. I'm blanking on the name. Gamers and Geeks. Sorry, long day. Gamers and Geeks Con, March 23rd to 24th, Mobile, Alabama. If you happen to be there, the few of you listening, if you live in that area, we will be there.
Yeah.
And it'll be a jolly good time. But yeah, I'll have different books there. I'll at least one of the days dress as Hypno Ray.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, come see us and get lost in my beard.
Yes.
If you can survive 2 nights in my beard, you will earn a prize. The prize is my respect.
That sounds like one of those
no value.
Those rich elite promises.
Yeah,
it's all a trap.
You see, it really depends on like your life situation. To some, I am a rich elite, but all those people are homeless. To everybody else, I am. Well, I'm here.
Yeah. So, yeah, go see Teo. Be a part of Snake Beard or Dinosaur Beard.
Yeah. You have to survive against a 9-foot tall gorilla and 3 to 5 3-foot tall gorillas inside my beard. That's right. I mixed the premises together.
And if you do survive, you get 1 free sticker.
And a negative $5 bill.
Yes.
This is worthless. Less than worthless, my boy.
So yeah, we'll be there. I want to quickly mention I am trying to get nominated for a Ringo Award for Tales from Town City. It's like it's not. Ringo Awards are great. Awards are great. That shouldn't be the reason you're doing comics and stuff. It's just a little feather in your cap type thing.
Yeah.
But I guess they're almost like the Golden Globe equivalent for comics, kind of.
Yeah. Would you say that the Eisner is the Oscar equivalent?
Eisner is the Oscar equivalent. Either Eisner or the Harvey Awards. Eisners are bigger, but Harvey Awards are more like distinguished.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
But Eisners are more popular.
Yeah. Quantum and Woody won an Eisner.
Oh, nice.
Like the James Asmus run.
Yeah.
From back in like 2013, 2014.
Cool. Well, I guess now thinking about it, Ringo Awards is more like the People's Choice Awards or the MTV Awards, MTV Movie Awards, because those deal with like people voting, like actual people voting, not like an academy.
Yeah, it's based on actual popularity, not like what the students say.
So vote for Tales from Town City for best humor comic, best I've got a post on social media. You can see all the stuff. And one of them's like for issue 1, best single issue / story. You can vote for those. You can vote Tales from Town City on all the other categories as well. If you do, great. Those aren't the ones I'm going for. But if hey, by all means, vote for them. But if I could at least get voted for best humor comic, that would rub my ego quite well.
Brandon, you can't talk about rubbing your ego on the podcast. That's inappropriate. Meanwhile, we talked about the vulgarity of Pooniverse and made references to snakes making love to women. Or not I did, but
I've thought about charging for people to see videos of me rubbing my ego. So
he just has a little model of Ego, the living planet from Marvel Comics.
But
are there Ego, the living planet models? I feel like there would be, but at the same time, that seems like
I don't know. Let's see.
because like I know that sometimes they do make models of more semi-obscure characters, and I know Ego's less obscure because of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but like people don't really know the comic version very well of Ego.
Yeah, I don't know if they have like, because I'm even trying to look at like toy right now.
Yeah,
That isn't like Kurt Russell. It's not a man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ego, like comic book Ego, would be difficult to like sell as a model or a toy, I think, because it's just a planet with a face.
Yeah, it's mostly like Etsy stuff, like people making it themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
So yeah, you can check us out at the upcoming convention, upcoming books, all that stuff. Follow the social medias. That is me, Dismay Comics. Teo, any final remarks or anything?
Um. Uh. I saw Elemental a couple days ago.
What'd you think?
It was good, cute movie. You know, the usual Pixar sort of thing. Feels like it kind of. Well, I haven't seen Soul or Turning Red, and I've actually always heard that Soul was pretty good anyway. But like when Turning Red came out, because you know how it only takes one bad movie for people to completely turn on a company. So
Yeah.
like after Turning Red came out, like there was the impression that Pixar was in a slump. But with Elemental, it kind of feels like they came pretty much right back out of it.
Yeah, that's the thing is I haven't seen Turning Red, but I did really like Soul. And I really liked Elemental as well. Like
Yes.
I'm probably in a minority of that. Most people are like, yeah, it was fine or it's decent. I don't know. I liked it a good bit, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Elemental
I don't.
good. And I think that the funny thing is, as we were watching it, my parents were trying to figure out like what ethnicity the fire people were supposed to be at the beginning of the movie, because like their language sounded vaguely Italian, but like then my sister was like, I don't know, it kind of seems like they're supposed to be Asian. So then I chimed in and I was like, I think they're just supposed to be immigrant ethnicity.
Yeah, because I think
Because
there
they're
are
Irish, which makes them Firish immigrants. That you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so but then like they're just supposed to be like a catch-all like immigrant ethnicity, so that because that's the movie is an immigrant story.
Yeah, because I was about to say there are some stuff that you can point out and like stereotype, like oh, like that sounds like this or that sounds like this, but I think it's maybe not entirely intentional or maybe intentional. It's kind of a mix of a bunch of different like foreign countries,
Yeah.
but it's like
Well,
you
it
said,
seems
it's mostly to just show like this is like an immigrant family essentially.
yeah, to me, based on like their accents and language and behavior, it seemed like they were kind of meant to be because like back in like the 1800s, I want to say all the way through like the early 20th century, the most common immigrant demographics coming through Ellis Island, I believe, were Italians and Irish. So like it kind of seems like they were meant to be a blend of that, of like just Italian and Irish stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
which is an interesting combo.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a solid flick as well.
Yeah, which is funny because neither of the main characters were solid.
That is true.
And there were so many things in that movie too where I looked at it and I was like, because the thing is, like, there are a few mentions that Element City wasn't built with fire people in mind, right?
Right, right.
But there were so many moments in that movie where I noticed like a lot of what's happening here would be impossible specifically for the Earth people.
I'm trying to think of an example.
There's a bit where Wade, like when Ember is chasing Wade over the citations towards the beginning of the movie, and he slips through that crack in the wall, and she goes after him.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something that the water, air, and fire people would be able to do, but the Earth people wouldn't.
True.
They're too solid. Plus the bit where they walk through the chain link fence, and they're like, "Why do we even have these? It keeps the Earth people out."
Oh, dang.
So I think there's some subtle discrimination against Earth people in Element City. A little bit of systemic racism happening there against more than just the fire people.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of seems like the city was designed with a lot of people in mind, almost like there's just a tiny little subtle, probably unintentional bit of comedy there, or not comedy, commentary there that this
I don't know.
discrimination against one group can be overt, but discrimination against another might be a little more hidden.
I was going to say I don't know if it is entirely unintentional because of like comments like whenever the fence thing where it's like, why do we have these? Like, yeah, that's ultimately a little joke, but like as the animators and as the writers, like you're doing that for more than just that singular joke, I would think. Like you're like before you even got to that joke, you're likely thinking about the world and then forming the story around the world. So I don't know. I think you got something there with that.
Yeah. But yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. Good music.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was pretty good. So yeah, check out At Your Home, Listener, Elemental, and then trek to the theater and watch Dune 2 and have your mouth agape like I did. Be like, oh, he rides Sandworm.
He rides Sandworm. Sandworm! Yes!
And then just quote a lot of stuff. Then just quote a lot of stuff from the movie afterwards and annoy people who haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, quote a lot of stuff from the movie, like we live in a society.
Yeah.
I have no enemies.
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby. Yeah, that's a quote that happens in in Dune Part 2.
In Joker.
In Joker, yeah.
Joker, Dune 2.
Joker, Dune, Part 2, The Reckoning.
Yes. And speaking of reckonings, we are Gotham's reckoning.
We are Gotham's.
And I am Brandon, and that is Bane.
Yes, I am Gotham's reckoning.
And now we are not.
Take care.